We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are.
Hey everyone, welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It is episode number 80. Look at that. I wore the number. How about that? And we're happy to have you with us. And of course, with me are my two good friends, John Tracy and Steve Murray. I'm, of course, Matt Craig. Happy to be along for the ride. John, you're on location, an undisclosed location. How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great.
Nice.
Doing great.
Mr. Murray, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm rocking my Predators jersey.
Nice.
Gotta do it. Yeah.
And I think you should wear the number every week.
I could easily do that. I have no
That's
problem
awesome.
doing that. Yeah. Well,
My dibs on 123.
That's the challenge for one of the hosts to actually wear a jersey with 3 numbers on it. That would be tremendous. That would be like huge. Well, of course, who wore 80 in the city of Philadelphia, guys? There weren't any Sixers. There certainly weren't any Flyers that have worn 80. That's a challenge, maybe. And the Phillies have not worn someone with an 80.
But they won an 80, so that counts.
They won in 1980, that's right, yeah. But there was a ton of Eagles that wore the number 80. Guys, can you name a couple off the top of your head? I'll just...
Torrance Smalls.
Torrance Small was one, yeah. Exactly.
Kevin Curtis.
Yeah, Kevin Curtis.
Yep.
Let's go with, doesn't Quez wear it now?
Yeah, Quez did wear it.
Did wear it, doesn't wear it anymore.
Doesn't wear it anymore, that's right.
Good for him. See, because he's a receiver, he doesn't want to wear 80 for the Eagles.
No, exactly.
Smart kid.
Yeah.
James Thrash, Silent H, if you want to call him trash.
There you go.
I didn't think he was that bad. It's just...
Yeah. There was also a guy who only caught touchdowns. Chris Carter.
Yeah. I see. I never think, I know he was an Eagle. I grew up as an Eagle, but I just do not, every time I see him, I just think Viking. I can't even, it's not even like, oh, he used to play for the Eagles. No, he's a Viking.
Yeah,
just flat out a Viking.
It really was, the early part of his career he was a disaster, really. It was
Didn't Irv wear it?
Yeah, Irving Fryer wore it.
Mr. Fryer?
Yeah.
Mr. Fryer?
Mr. Fryer wore it, yeah.
And Jordan Matthews, when he came back, apparently wore it.
On the back, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we're going to have a consecutive week with him.
One guy that wore it one of our hosts has to explain what's going on here, because when we looked it up, we all could not believe it. John, you wore 80 for the city of Philadelphia, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a easily. You know how Donald Trump's a time traveler?
Yeah.
So that's all it is. I can just sell it off the right way.
How did you manage the crew cut though?
Dude, I got good hair. No matter what I do with it, it looks good.
You also look like you gained about 100 pounds too in the picture I saw.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, you haven't seen me in person recently.
Well, look, you needed it if you were playing linebacker.
I'm at the point now where all I hear when I step on the scale is "ouch."
I love. Yeah, there was the Nintendo Wii, right? Had a game called, I think it was Wii Fit.
Yes.
And it came with a board.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You had to.
Well.
And so you step on it to start the game, and there's a mode where you can weigh yourself and do all kinds of fitness things. And sometimes you would step on it and it would be like, oh, fatty, get off. Very disturing.
That's where I literally
also very insulting too. I'll point that out.
My parents got it, that Wii Fit, because they got the Wii for the kids, and I came over one day visiting my parents, and they were doing the Wii Fit. And you ever hang out with elderly people that are more in shape than you are? I learned. I got a gym membership that afternoon. I was like, this can't happen. I can't be sweating because of a video game.
Exactly.
What's wrong with me?
That's funny.
Well, John, I want to congratulate you on winning. What was it, Matt? Two AFL titles?
AFL championships. Yeah,
It was hard. You know, I had to stretch myself to 6'4". It was hard.
Gained probably about 75 pounds, right?
But all I got to say is go Buffalo Bills.
Well, yeah, you won them in Buffalo, which is amazing because Buffalo never wins anything.
It's just amazing. Yeah. I mean, that's just phenomenal. So we
Thank
couldn't
you,
believe it.
Thank you.
So, well, there you go. So there you go, John. Couldn't believe it. So guys, here we go. Why don't we just dive right in? Topic 1 here, and this is an interesting Axios Ipsos poll. Most Americans say COVID is no longer a crisis. We might want to send this over to the Philadelphia Health Department, since they have now instituted a mask mandate to try and stop the spread of Omicron. Oh, wait a minute. It's just spreading and going all over the place, and it's kind of crazy.
The original quote was caseloads are up. That same bullshit line.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. They're
Well,
hyping up their caseloads again, Johnny.
If you've seen the requirements that they said for bringing the mask mandate back, one of them is the cases jump by 50% in a week or something.
Yep.
It's like, oh, so great. If there's 10 cases and now we have 20 cases, that's a 50% jump.
It's a 50% jump. Yeah.
Yep.
We got to hype that up.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. That's a 100% jump. Sorry.
That's true. But even so, you still got to hype it up. But this is interesting, guys. Less than 1 in 10 Americans now describe COVID as a crisis. 3 in 4 calling it now manageable. 1 in 6 say, not even a problem. It's interesting, this entire piece is interesting here. Democrats are 5 times as likely as Republicans to say COVID is a crisis. 16 to 3%. That's amazing. Republicans 10 times as likely as Democrats to say COVID is not a problem. 31% of Republicans say, not a big deal. 3% of Democrats agree with that.
The one I really liked was the middle poll where everybody says it's actually in unison. Everybody's like, it's a thing, but it's manageable.
It's manageable.
That's where you actually both parties come together on it.
It really is amazing. Overall, 73% believe that same thing, John. It's a problem, but it's manageable. 66% of Republicans, 81% of Democrats. That's stunning right there. I think that's really
but that shows that the people that aren't held by their political party. That's the normal people that are like, it's a problem, it's an issue. You can totally see the right and left in that poll too. The left is freaking out. The right's like, it's not anything. Yeah, but we've been hearing that from the beginning.
Long, right? Since the beginning, right?
Yeah, but that middle poll really shows me that the country's coming even closer together in not buying the bullshit.
Yeah. What's really sad about all of this, though, is the Axios piece kind of just makes it,
that's what they do.
I mean, it is what they do. Yeah, it's more of like, oh my gosh, well, this is what's the big picture in all this. They're thinking like, well, this could be a problem for people that want to stay and remain in power. They're talking to the Democrats, kind of reading between the lines. That kind of deal. But
there's certain. They do have cases where you can definitely point that out, because there was a recent study that came out that said that Florida, Texas, and another state handled the pandemic exactly like a pandemic should be handled, and then New York and Pennsylvania and a couple other ones didn't handle it that way. Yeah. I mean, it's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I 100% even believe that it's a left-right thing, but the governors that have the Democratic right, they seem to be the ones that kind of slipped up.
It's kind of interesting when you have this piece. This is what I was mentioning before. This is directly from the Axios piece. Quote, these sentiments and the public's growing desire to be done with mask mandates and other restrictions raise significant challenges for public health officials in managing new surges, could create real political headwinds ahead of the midterms. It's an interesting sentence, to me at least. I think it's, it's kind of like, well, raising significant challenges for public health officials. The fact that they think that the people think it's manageable, and it is manageable. I mean, it's a matter of just taking care of yourself and having personal responsibility over your own health. We've talked about that in the podcast.
Problem they have, I think, is more that, if something worse were to come along, how serious are we going to take it? Because this has been a total train wreck disaster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I could see it being a train wreck disaster in where people want to get rid of the old and just get new, because maybe we can work back. We're not going to see until November.
Yeah.
Iowa normally is right when they run the pre-midterms, and it doesn't look good.
We saw it in Virginia, right, Johnny? I mean, we saw that happening in Virginia, where really it was I would say traditionally blue state, all of a sudden flipped red.
Oh yeah.
With this guy.
Yeah, but that wasn't. I don't know that was necessarily COVID related.
No, that was
more education.
That was a long time coming.
Yeah.
That was a really long time coming. It's where I follow this one guy who does a really good. He's a little bit too right wing for me to quote him exactly, but he talks about how Republicans want to turn California so bad, and they always forget to stick with the eastern states because they're the ones that want to go red normally. But like, it's the cities are blue, the countries are red in the eastern corridor. But he always says that the CNN and the Fox get hung up on, California's going to turn red.
That could flip. Yeah.
It's a BS talking point.
I think you're not seeing any reaction because there has been a slight upturn in the caseloads, but you're not seeing outside of Philadelphia, other places, New York and such, or even in Washington, nobody's jumping up and down about restoring any of these because they know the political ramifications of that.
Oh yeah.
Philadelphia is so bleeding Democrat though that it doesn't matter. That's why they can.
Let's talk about that, Steve. That's huge because it's like, here we go again. It's like we're going back, and I think it's a foolish mistake to think that you're trying to get ahead of a variant that has proven to be so contagious and so out of control, real in terms of its spreadability. It's not a pathogenic, it's more symptomatic. You're spreading it quickly from one person to another, and people get over it quickly. The idea that you want to throw on a mask to try and mitigate that when it's already contagious doesn't make much sense to me. And I think we have a video from Dr. John Campbell, who Steve has...
look at that segue.
I'm interesting. Yeah.
I'm
skeptical.
Dubious of Dr. John just because he's taken some positions in the past that I think have been proven to be wrong.
But
I will listen, and if what he has to say makes sense, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so here he's going to be talking about Philadelphia basically coming down into the whole mask mandate within the city.
Now, Philadelphia, for example, they've restated the mask mandate, first major city to do so. Now, this is Cheryl Bettigol, health commissioner in Philadelphia. This is our chance to get ahead of the pandemic, she says. Now, what do you think? Do you think she's right? Will you get ahead of the pandemic? Will you get ahead of Omicron BA2? I'm afraid I don't think so. I really don't think we've got any evidence that wearing masks is significantly going to reduce the spread of BA2. In Alpha and Delta, yes, I believe there was evidence there. I don't believe the evidence is yet there for the Omicron. Now, it's reasonable to assume there'll be some protection, but the idea that you can halt Omicron. Remember that poster we used to have up, "Stop the spread of COVID-19," and we took it down because you can no longer stop the spread. especially with Omicron BA2. So this is our chance to get ahead of the pandemic. I wish it was, but I don't think it's true. I'm afraid I'm going to give you a cross on that one. I don't believe it's true. 142 cases per day in Philadelphia, 4,000 in the Omicron wave so far. But we know that many more people have had minimally symptomatic or asymptomatic infection. And we believe that 45% of the whole population of the United States has had Omicron. So obviously in Philadelphia, it's going to be much, there's going to be a lot of people have had Omicron already. So therefore we'll have good levels of immunity. Knowing that every previous wave of the infection has been followed by a wave of hospitalizations and then followed by a wave of deaths, she thinks it's going to be the same again. The health commissioner, then it will be too late for many of our residents. That's why she wants to get ahead of the pandemic. Well, firstly, I don't think you're going to get ahead of the pandemic. And secondly, there will be some increased hospitalizations. There will be some deaths, but it will be way, way less than it has been in the past. Because even though we saw the increases in the UK in hospitalizations, they were way, way less than previous waves.
All right, guys. So what do you think in regards to what Dr. Campbell has to say there?
Made sense to me.
Yeah, makes complete sense to me. He brought statistics.
He did. And I think the encouraging thing is really that the caseloads have been relatively minimal. And again, this is a subvariant of the entire Omicron variant. There were two of them, BA1 and BA2. Yes. This BA2 is apparently more contagious, that kind of a thing, but not less. We talked about
it on prior podcast.
Yep.
Podcast about how the end of a pandemic is highly infectious, low rates of death, highly contagious, low rates of death, highly contagious, and then herd immunity happens and boom.
Yeah.
Pandemic over, basically. I think we're in that stage.
Yeah. It could be something where it's still going to continue to be with us, but to your point, John, the idea of it being in this pandemic where we don't know what it is, now we know, and we've gathered 2 years worth of data with this. But again, I think
we've had this particular variant in other places like Great Britain.
Yes.
So we can know kind of what to expect.
More doctors have seen it firsthand, which wasn't the case in the original COVID-19. Because remember, we had Alex on, and he was talking about they were getting direct lines from China because they were the only ones that saw it. They were the only doctors that saw it. And then when it got to the US, they started to kind of work their own stuff because they were seeing it firsthand.
There was a part of that video, it wasn't part of the cut that I made, but part of the cut was that they're thinking that there might have been COVID in the wastewater. So you know how it basically because you're going to have to continue to recycle the water, obviously, in the earth. There's a chance that they think the next possible theory is that COVID is coming out of wastewater and getting back into the recycling, going in from there. That might be a thought process. I don't know. That's just a theory.
I thought they were.
Who knows?
I thought the thing with the wastewater was that they were just using that to kind of measure, since a lot of people aren't testing anymore, measuring kind of COVID levels.
Yep. That's exactly right.
That's probably more correct then, Steve. Yeah, that sounds more correct. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not aware that we're recycling COVID through our bowels and getting back into our sources.
It's happening every day. I'm throwing that around my house.
Like that would be coming out.
The good news in Philadelphia is I think there are some of the politicians are not happy about it. Reinstating, because they said, look, we've got to appeal to the businesses here too.
Yeah.
You can't kill the businesses.
I'm not going into Philadelphia right now while the mask mandate's on.
No.
Not a chance.
No. I mean, I think the days of the mask wearing are over. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that if you still feel like you have to be protected.
Oh yeah, totally.
By all means, go ahead, but time to move on.
That also is the last thing I want to touch on COVID is that people need to leave people alone. Yeah. If someone feels comfortable, leave them the hell alone. Yeah. You're not the Lord and Savior on the mask police, like wearing or not wearing. Shut up, like on both sides.
Yeah.
Telling me to wear one and someone telling you to not wear one. Like, everybody needs to shut up on that.
Yeah.
Let it just happen. It'll naturally work itself out. Trust me.
And it was interesting. My company is going to be opening its offices again, soft opening kind of thing, 2 or 3 days a week. And of course, this news came out while we were announcing this, and so the whole rumor now is, are they going to shut it down or not? And it's like,
yeah,
if they do, it's like, I don't know what to do at that point. I have no idea. I'm still going to continue to go in because I got to print invoices. But
I think you should buy a Darth Vader mask and go in there like, you are safe.
I am your father.
Oh, God.
All right, guys, here we go. Topic 2, and this is going to be interesting. The NHL with some interesting hits, and we're going to pass it over to Mr. Steve on that one. Steve, go ahead and take it, man. What do you got for us?
All right. I think everyone knows the NHL Department of Player Safety.
Oh, yeah.
Let me start again. The NHL Department of Player Safety.
There you go.
Is a joke. There are things that happen in games that boggle the mind when they either aren't suspended, are suspended, aren't fined, are fined. And you know, there's things that we definitely want to get out of the game because it's just not a good thing for player health. It's not a good look for children watching, and just in general, it's bad things that need to be weeded out. But I don't think the Department of Player Safety is doing that with the way they're handling things. And it goes back. I can remember Colin Campbell, I think, was in charge of it, and even back then, it was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
There have been repeat offenders, like Raffi Torres comes to mind.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, Raffi Torres.
Who was the guy in Matt Cook comes to mind.
Stepped on
Those guys have had the book thrown at them, but only after, you know, they've launched themselves into about 10 heads and repeat offenses.
Yeah.
I think if you want to nip some of these things in the bud, you got to set examples, and you got to set them early.
No doubt.
So what I wanted to do was I put together a series of videos of recent on-ice incidents.
There you go.
I wanted to have us look at them and decide whether or not we thought they rose to the level of suspension, and how long a suspension it should be, and if it's something that we think is very dangerous that should come out of the game, or it's something that is going to happen sometimes just as a result of the nature of the game, or somewhere in between. So why don't we take a look at the first video, I believe, is Matt's favorite player.
Are you kidding me? I thought he was your favorite player too, right, Steve?
What did I call him in episode 71? The penis in Pennsylvania or Western?
Pennsylvania? Yeah, exactly.
So this is Yevgeny Malkin.
Whew. So yeah, you got a two-hand slash with a stick to the face. Watch this coming up here.
Ooh.
Boom.
Yeah, but watch now.
Bam.
Ooh.
Right to the face.
Stick in the face.
That, Johnny.
Ooh.
That's pretty bad,
Yikes.
Steve.
Yikes.
The thing of it is, for me, it's the stick to. The cross check to the face. We're going to talk about that, but for me, it's the two-hand axe against his stick. That's ridiculous. And to me, that's just like, then he escalates it with the stick to the face, or the cross check to the face. I don't know if he's a repeat offender, though. That's my question.
I'll get to that in a sec. John, what are your initial thoughts?
The slash is just ignorant, and it shouldn't happen, but just, you got to know where your body is. You can't hit him in the face with your stick after you just broke his stick with your stick. Like, he incited 2 incidents at once where he should have walked away after the first one. Because once you swing a stick like that off balance and to hurt somebody, you don't then go back to, oh, you're mad at me, so I'm going to hit you in the face with it. You should be suspended for a while for that.
Yeah. For me, I'm thinking if I had to gauge the suspension, On ice, it's a definite 2, 5, and 10. Minor, major, and then misconduct. So he's out of the game. And then I was a little overboard in pre-production saying that he should be suspended for the playoffs and first 21 games. I'm going to lighten that up a little bit. He's done for the rest of the regular season and maybe the first round of the playoffs. That's what I would probably.
How many? Where are we at now? Is that like 10 games?
That's probably 10 games.
That's
to
what I'm
that's
feeling.
Like 17 games. I mean, that's.
I'm with John on the slash. I think it's certainly a penalty, and it was a rather vicious slash, but it was on the stick. So I'm less concerned about that.
Okay.
My issue is with
slashing, 5 minutes for cross-checking in the face, 10-minute misconduct, 10 game suspension. That's
and that's where I'm at. I think you hitting somebody in the face or the head in general with a stick,
it's rude.
Is not good.
No,
to put it mildly,
it's rude.
You put your stick on the ice. You cannot lift it. You just cannot.
That is assault with a weapon.
Your stick. Yeah,
that's what he did too. He raised it above his chest, which is there's no reason for that.
Exactly.
It's assault with a weapon. Is what it is.
No question.
Yeah. All right. So Matt's at the 17 game mark. John, are you in agreement with that?
A 10.
With 10 game. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would go 10 to 15.
Okay. I agree with that. So I think we're all around.
I think you got to send a message. This is the kind of thing you want out of the game: is people hitting each other in the head with the stick.
Yeah, you definitely don't want cross checks in the face. That's kind of stupid.
Right. The actual suspension Mr. Malkin gained for that was 4 games.
Ooh, cute.
As a repeat offender, to answer Matt's original question, if you will recall, Matt, several years ago, Malkin was suspended for a single game when he took a baseball-type swing at Michael Raffles' head with his stick.
He sure did, yeah.
I remember that.
He only got 4 games for that? Man,
that's right. 4 games.
Yeah, that's the end of your regular season minimum, to John's point. That's the end.
It's a minimum 10 games.
Yeah, easily.
Absolutely. Was he thrown out of the game?
I believe he was.
Okay. So at least they officiated the game.
Oh, you know what? No, he was not. He was assessed.
Oh, wow.
He was assessed 4 minutes in penalties, and Borowiecki, the guy he hit, was assessed a 2-minute minor.
Well, yeah. Probably for the roughing
I could see that 2-minute minor, but that's a 2-5-10.
But that's a 5. That's a 5.
It's a 2-5-10. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 2-5 and a 10.
Yeah, that's definitely a 2-5-10.
Yeah.
At least the game we played, it was a 2-5-10.
No question.
I agree wholeheartedly. The referees dropped the ball, and I think the Department of Player Safety also
dropped the ball as well. 4 games is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
All right, so let's go to the next video because this is very similar. This is Austin Matthews in the I think it's the Heritage Classic, the outdoor Canadian game early in February.
He's a good player.
Toronto versus Buffalo.
Okay, gets bumped into the crease. All right.
Okay. Oh, I'm not okay.
Cross check to the face. Okay.
But at least they're fighting afterwards. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
So so watch. They're battling, and then he cross checks him in the neck.
Ooh. Woo.
All right, pause that, Johnny. Yeah.
Woo.
All right, John, I'll go with you first on this one.
Wow.
Yikes.
Your reaction.
It's the same exact thing. You can't take your hands above your chest. It has to be the same as Malkin. It's got to be a 2-5-10. It's 2 for cross checking with a major for. Let's say it's just a 5 basically, but it's a misconduct. So I guess it would be 2 for roughing, 5 for cross checking, and then 10. Yeah, that's how it would be. And then a 10-game suspension, a minimum 10-game suspension.
All right.
You got to get the headhunting out of the game.
Oh yeah.
And that was pure headhunting.
No question. No question about it.
Matt?
For me, Darlene gets 2 for the roughing call because he checks him into the crease.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to absolve Darlene of.
But I have no problem with the physicality up to that point.
Exactly.
That was because that could have been a wash. That's a 2-2 wash.
Yeah.
Easily.
He rides him in. He pushes him into the net.
But then you've got on top of that, you have Matthews coming back, and to your point, Johnny, you're right. It's a full-on cross check, and
that's a headhunt. That's
I
not
mean,
good.
that is like right there, full speed, right to the neck. It's just amazing these guys like how they continue to keep playing. I don't know. It's like a whole different level of hockey. I'm with you. End of the season. You're done. You know, and maybe we'll think about first round of the playoffs, but your regular season's done. I don't care who you are. When you go after someone's head like that, in the manner that he did, because you could tell, like, when he gets checked down to the ice, his intent is to get back up and hit him right in the head. That's easily
Now-
a 10-game suspension.
Yeah, it's a
this-
neck shot, which is not safe.
No,
He may have said this, I don't know, but I'll play devil's advocate. Let's say he said, well, I didn't mean to hit him there. I meant to hit him in the shoulder.
why are you
Does it
bringing
do
your
anything
stick up?
You don't bring your stick up past
Why
your
do you bring?
chest.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I
You
agree
just
with you.
don't bring your stick. Dude, I've thrown 1,000 cross checks in my time. I've never threw one at someone's head.
I can't say
Just don't raise your hands that high.
Yeah, you just,
I can't
yeah.
say I've ever cross-checked anyone because I
Mm.
take the strategy of I take one hand off the stick,
Mm,
Hmm?
turn my stick down, and I push with my
You're up.
hands.
mhm.
Yeah.
I
But
think I
I-
get more leverage that way anyway because I'm in kind of
No, I agree.
fight
I
instead
agree.
of-
I'm talking about retaliation, like, me being the little guy for
Oh, yeah.
many years, taking, punches directly in the face and having to
You
fight
mean
back
you
with a
weren't
stick.
6'3", 230, John? I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
exactly. No, that was my time traveling days. I was a smaller hockey player.
He only played football back then. He didn't
Oh,
play
yeah.
hockey.
I didn't play hockey.
All
No,
right,
but
so-
I've thrown cross checks, but there's padding where you're supposed to throw them at.
Yeah.
You throw them at the top of the back where the
waist.
shoulder pads are. You throw them at the waist where the
waist.
pads are.
Yes.
That's the whole point of a position cross check. Isn't to maim somebody, it's to move them.
Yeah.
That was maiming. That's not moving.
Yeah. That
He wasn't trying to move
that
him
was
anyway.
definitely with the intent. All right.
Now,
What
there's
do you
a
got?
difference between the two potentially.
Okay.
Mhm.
Darlene looks to have escaped without any injury, fortunately.
Yeah.
Good.
Borowiecki
Lost a tooth.
I
and
think
was
he,
bleeding.
he was bleeding profusely out of the mouth.
Mhm.
I don't think he returned that game.
Wow.
I do believe he has come back since, so it wasn't, a serious
Mhm.
injury to my knowledge.
Mhm.
Does injury play any role in your suspension? So far, it doesn't sound like it, but I want to see if that makes any difference to you.
An injury would intensify the suspension if I was in control. So if I call that a minimum 10 games, your 10 games doesn't start until you sit until the injured player comes back.
Yeah.
So if there is a direct result injury, I firmly believe it's in all sports.
Mhm.
If there's a direct result injury, you need to sit as long as that person's out. If they're
Mhm.
out for the season, you're out for the season.
Yeah.
But then you get a 10-game suspension on top of that.
Oh wow!
Because you should get the suspension for the act.
Yeah.
But if you actually injure somebody, like if he was out 2 games,
Mhm.
you need to sit those 2 games.
Need an additional too. I couldn't disagree with you, Johnny. I couldn't. I
I've
really could
always
not.
believed that. I believe that was that's the best way to start that in youth sports, and you won't get these
Mhm.
incidents.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. No question about that. All right, Save. What was the verdict by the NHL players?
So the actual suspension for Austin Matthews was 2 games. And
So you
just
got
to wrap up the thing on the injury, I don't know for something like this. Injury to me shouldn't matter
Hmm,
because you were cross-checking somebody in the head either way.
yeah.
It's the intent. I
It's
understand.
the intent for me.
How does that how do you verify a 2-game suspension for that if he's going there is a clear intent to go after him with his stick up and he cross-checks him in the neck and that gives him 2 games?
I don't know if the DPOS or DOPS. It would be funny if it's DPOS because then it's Department Player shit. But, I don't know if they still put out. They used to when Brendan Shanahan was in charge. They used to put out videos explaining the decisions. I don't know if they still do that. My guess would be on this Matthews incident, he would have been saved by the fact that Darlene was not injured on the play. And Matthews, to my knowledge, is not a repeat offender.
Okay.
Okay.
So those are two things working in his favor, but still 2 games seems way too light for.
I think
fully
so.
agree with
Tension.
that.
I agree with that, definitely.
I think it's worse than Malkin, although Malkin caused injury.
I don't know. I don't know if it was worse. The cross checks are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I think
true,
they're the
too.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True, too.
and Malkin probably should get a little more for the slash.
Probably. Yeah.
Like if I was gonna maybe 10-9 because you didn't try to slash the dude's arm off before you hit him in the face. Like,
Exactly. All right, so let's move to the
All right,
third one.
next
Go ahead,
one.
play it.
Next one. Oh, so this next one is Nathan McKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche against former Flyer Nolan Patrick.
Okay, so you got Patrick with the puck here, and then boom.
Let me watch it in slow mo.
Shoulder to his chin, Johnny. And
I know,
Patrick has had a history of concussions. There it
I
is, full
feel
speed
you on
back.
that, but I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Go where you're gonna go.
Yeah, this is more subtle. Comparing from the previous 2 clips that we just have seen, this is more subtle in the fact that you had Patrick skating, and I think he doesn't feel Nathan McKinnon, because you could see him kind of drifting towards the center of the ice, getting in position for the puck. I don't know, but he doesn't feel him. And then all of a sudden you see McKinnon's shoulder go whoop, just lift it up just a little bit, knocks him out. I mean, he left the ice at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's a repeat offender. I have no idea. I know he's a terrific hockey player. This is tough. I would say it's got to be 6 games. Maybe add a few additional more games if Patrick could, is in concussion protocol and has to come out of it. He's had a long history of this though with concussions. That worries me a little bit. So I would say probably minimum 6 to 7 games for that. It's subtle. That's the thing. It's not. I don't think there's any intent there. It's hard to gauge. But
I disagree on intent. I mean, he clearly follows through.
Yeah, he follows through, and
in the
that's
head
where
area.
I'm kind of yeah.
He is shrugging him.
He is, yeah.
He is shrugging him. I just don't know if he intended to knock him out while he was shrugging him.
Don't know.
Like, because there are that's a full. That's different to the other 2 because that was almost they were stopped flat ground. This dude's moving, so he has
like
to
full
get
speed. Yeah,
he's got to get some somebody on his side.
Yeah.
Because when you're moving that fast, like what are you going to do? Throw your, the guy's on your pec muscle, and you're trying to get position, and you throw your elbow. Same thing in it happens in basketball all the time. You got to throw your elbow up, and it's a foul, but you're trying to get position off of the guy.
It's clearly interference. Clearly.
Yeah, I would
definition of interference with the puck.
I would
on McKinnon.
Yeah, I would definitely. It would definitely was with him landing on the ice like that. It's probably a major penalty, maybe a 1 or 2 game suspension. I don't think that.
It's tough
because I don't think he meant to hurt him.
Interesting.
I think he was. That's my interpretation of looking at it. It looks like it's a body play.
Yeah.
I would
he
go.
comes out and he's like, "I meant to do it." Throw the book at the dude.
Oh yeah, he'll do that. Yeah, that's exactly what he'll say.
Yeah.
To me, the problem here is that this is not a situation where Patrick, ducked his head at the last second or made a turn or made a move where you could say, yeah, it was a bang bang play, and it just Patrick had bad position at the very last second that resulted in this. McKinnon kind of knew where he was the whole time and lifted and followed through. So maybe it wasn't his intention to hurt him, but he certainly intended to make contact.
Oh yeah, he was definitely
in that area. He knew that was the area. To me, that's probably 10 games.
10 games.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I don't like head hits.
I'm with you. I couldn't disagree with that at all.
The actual decision here, no game suspension, no fine.
Wow. Huh.
Which I find
that's shocking.
Appalling.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Was there even a penalty on the play?
I think he probably was assessed. Like I think he did.
Because there should have at
I think
least,
it was like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Yeah, he at least should have got a penalty. That wasn't. He's not getting away scot-free.
That's unbelievable. That's shocking. So, all right. So yeah, let's go on to the next clip. Steve,
All right, this next one is your second favorite player.
Oh, good.
Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins.
Automatic 20-game suspension. Shot on net. Okay. A little bit of chirping.
I don't know why we're zooming in on Taylor Hall there, but
There you go. Oh, you got a little punch.
punch to the head of the goalie.
Punch to the head of the goalie. Tristan Jarry of the Penguins. I'm surprised Crosby didn't cross-check Marchand from behind.
Well, that's also, yeah.
Yeah. And he comes around and goes.
Okay, so this is
Pulls a John Tracy.
Leave. You leave.
Go ahead, pause that. Oh.
I would never hit him in the head. I'd always try to knock his glove off his hand.
all right. So a stick to the goalie face.
Yeah.
Matt, where you at?
Yeah.
I always love to hear the story behind it because, Marchand, whenever he gets the puck on the stick, he doesn't score goals, which I love, because it's like he's a prick. Anyway, I have said that on the podcast before.
First time for everything.
Yeah. The punch.
Can we cue up the shootout mishap?
You got the punch to the head, and then you got the stick to the face. End of the regular season. 10 games. I mean, what is he doing waving his stick blade in front of the guy's face and attempting to knock him? And what's he doing punching him? Like, okay, I get it. The puck was in the front and you're Marchand and you can't score goals and you hit it right into his glove. I mean, come on, dude. Put the puck in the net. That's what you're supposed to do. Put the freaking puck in the net. And instead you have to resort to this 10-game suspension.
John?
Yeah, I would say it's an intent. So as we've already 10 games is at least the intent. Mm-hmm. I'll give him the punch. I won't give him the stick in the helmet. Like that's ridiculous.
It's a weapon. Again, it's a weapon.
Again,
Yeah,
and if anybody knows anything about goalie helmets, it doesn't feel good.
No.
When they get hit in the head.
No. Well, ask Roman Czechmanic. He might know. So
that's a bell ringer. That could lead to a concussion. And it's intent.
Yeah.
So yeah, no way.
It's crazy.
6.
Okay.
And I don't know if they based the suspension solely on the stick or if they factored in the punch as well. But again, repeat offender status as Marchand is,
But 6 games? Oh, whatever. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Let's.
You asked me in pre-production if you wanted to have the commentary play over these videos, and I said no because the Boston one had Psycho Jack. What's his face?
Oh, there you go.
Edwards,
Jack Edwards, and I don't want to hear him. So.
No. He probably
right,
wasn't
next-
saying anything because he probably felt was justified.
Yeah. Homer.
Jarry's
Homer.
Homer.
That's one guy I would love to punch in the face would be Jack Edwards.
Oh
Yeah, but don't do it during the game because it's illegal.
Well, that's true. Yeah, Micah.
All right, next one is, and I apologize, it's former Flyers. This one is Marcus Foligno on Jake Voracek of the Columbus.
What the heck? Oh, need a knee.
Yeah, I'm all over that one. Yeah. Yeah.
He goes, this is a good picture here, full speed.
John Tracy special.
You can't. Ugh.
Oh, that sucks right there.
What?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Watch it. It's even more perfect. Bam!
You're such a
That could
dick.
have been an ACL right there, easily.
You're such a dick.
Yeah.
Why?
All right, Johnny.
I'm sorry. I have to go first.
Go for it.
You can't stop.
No.
That's an open ice hit. You can take that hit. I have no problem taking the hit. Don't dig your skate in and turn your knee.
Yeah. You're telling Voracek did that.
That's bad. No, the offender.
Oh, the offender. Foligno.
Yeah, he planted his foot because he didn't want to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get that out of the game. Like if he took him head on and didn't slow down, I'm totally cool with it as long as he didn't hit him in the head.
Yep.
If they went body to body, I'm cool with it. But he plants his skate and turns his knee.
And turns in.
Well, I view it a little differently. I think he's going for contact. Voracek cuts, and he sticks his leg out because now he's caught.
He's caught.
Gonna miss. Matt, what do you say?
Tough one. I would say this happens maybe not most of the time, but some of the time. You see knee-on-knee hits like that. I agree with you, Steve. There is definitely, like, the way Foligno reacts to it, he's beat on the play. And it's almost like he tries, it's really a pathetic attempt to try and throw a hip check, because that's what you're supposed to do, but he doesn't do it. And he hits knee, like, that could have been an ACL. That could have ended his career.
Yeah, it's not good.
For good thing for Jake, I think he was okay. I don't know if he finished that game, but he was back quickly.
The next.
I think so.
In that case, I would say probably 5-game suspension.
I think I would agree with you. 5 games.
I think that's, he's beat on the play, and when you're beat, you do stupid stuff, and obviously you got to get penalized for that stupid stuff. So, no question about that. That would be my assessment on that. Probably 5 games.
What's your games, John?
4 to 5.
Okay.
Well, this is actually interesting. So Foligno was suspended 4 games.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay with that. They need to get that out of the 4 to 5 is good because it'll get it out of the game.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Knock on wood.
All right, so
bad play.
So this last one is Brett Connolly of the Chicago Blackhawks.
And this is going to be bad.
I don't remember the gentleman's name from Dallas.
Yeah. But this. Oh man, why?
See that slow mo though? That looked. Yeah. He's
out, as you can tell. He's definitely like
that at all
on the ice, flat. That's not a good look, obviously. By the way, good tickets still available down in Dallas. Great,
yeah,
John.
totally.
Come on, what the heck?
All the time. I lived there for a year. Never went to a store.
Go. So it's up off the wall. No.
Oh, that is just dummy not knowing where he is. Ugh.
Yeah, and I will say the one thing about that's good is the fact that Connolly doesn't leap into the air. Thank God he doesn't leap and get off the ice. Otherwise, that is a disaster. I think he was out on contact when he hits his body.
Yeah.
Really. He just was knocked out because he never saw him coming. And he's following the puck and everything like that. That's always a very difficult play when you have the puck coming along and you're coming up. You're responsible to basically chip it off the board with the winger.
Yeah, turn around and move.
That kind of deal. For Connolly, that's definitely obviously you probably get a double minor for that, for roughing more than anything else. Minimum 2-game suspension. It's a head, obviously. I give him a lot of credit for not leaping off the ice, though. It could have been a lot worse. It's still a knockout shot. It could have been a hell of a lot worse if he leaves his feet off the ice. That's a disaster.
I don't think he meant to hit him.
No.
I think that was just it was 2 people trying to play a puck.
Yep.
And one wasn't looking and the other one wasn't looking. They literally dumb hockey. They just ran into each other.
Yep.
I wouldn't suspend him. It's definitely a penalty though, because you're obstructing the dude from moving.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something.
Yeah.
Something of being dumb and not.
And we've seen this play, guys. How many times have we seen people bump into each other like that? Not to this extent, obviously. He had no idea.
That's more of it's a penalty because you're dumb. It's dumb hockey because you don't know where you are on the ice.
Yeah.
And that gets corrected with penalties, I say. I don't think it's a suspension. If it's a suspension, it's got to be, if he's out, he's out. You know what I mean? If it was intentional, but I don't think it was intentional. So if you're going to suspend, maybe
2 games, Johnny.
Yeah, maybe a game or 2, but I wouldn't suspend them for it.
Yeah.
This is what I think we were talking more with McKinnon. It's as the play is going on. A lot of the stuff that we're calling for major suspensions, it's like, intent after the play, kind of away from the puck, 2 guys battling, and one of them decides to use a stick as a weapon. Yeah. This one, I think the puck was coming around. He didn't touch it, so it is interference.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep, no question. Yep.
and he's trying to make a play, keep the puck in the zone, and it just ended up poorly, as John said. You got the guy coming up the wall isn't looking.
Dumb hockey. You don't know where you are.
Yeah. I also with Matt, you give him credit for not kind of leaping into it, but I think he also could have let up a little bit.
Oh yes, no question. Yeah,
Agreed.
In a non-checking league, that happens. That's the thing. We've all played in non-checking leagues. All three hosts here have done that, and that happens more often than not. It should happen more often than not, but it does happen more frequently. There, it's obviously you got a checking environment. And like I said, I give Connolly credit. He did not leave the ice at all. He kept.
He did not project. Yeah, he did not project.
Not launch himself. Thank the Lord God, because that would have been a disaster.
Yeah, like Steve Downey.
Yeah, exactly.
Steve Downey was great at that.
You know who was awesome at it? James Neal.
Yeah.
One day we ought to revisit the terrible idea the Penguins had of Ask James Neal on Twitter and just read some of the questions that went through, because they were golden. Absolutely golden. But just to wrap this segment up, so Brett Connolly got 4 games.
Okay. I disagree with that, but
I disagree with the length. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too much.
But I guess with the head again, John.
I mean, I get the going to the head, but you're not.
I think the Dallas player, I believe, had to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
unfortunately. So it was a serious injury.
Yeah,
absolutely. But if he would have sent himself into him and caused that injury, it's way bigger. But I just don't think the intent was there.
No.
I think you're right.
No question about it.
But bottom line is, we're smarter than the Department of Player Safety. So
apparently,
told us for all suspensions and fines.
So as long as Steve runs the NFL, John and I can run NHL player safety. How about that? I mean,
there we go.
Step down.
I don't want any of these jobs. He's supposed to be president.
That's right. That's Illinois.
I'm busy tomorrow, so we don't got time.
There you go. And now, a word from our sponsor.
All right. So today's show is brought to us by Gary Gray's Brain Supplements. If you find yourself doing stuff, then you need these supplements. You can take 1 or 3 sometimes, and your brain will get gooder. These Brain Thing is approved for use by the agency, that one. And then jeans are half price when you buy 1 for the price of 2. Yes, that's right. That's 3barwireless.com for all your stapler needs. Back to you, Mark.
So yeah, we'd like to thank Gary Gray's Brain Thing.
Yeah, at least I think we have to thank them. I don't know. Maybe they'll forget to.
I'm sorry. Okay. Are you okay? That's the one thing. Are you okay? Like 100%.
You have these prepaid, right? These sponsors, they prepay before.
We try, but they might have forgot to prepay us, and then we forgot. Who knows?
It's going to have to get with the billing and accounting department on that one, I think. Yeah. We're going to have to maybe take a look at that vendor. It was ridiculous.
We'll make sure.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, third topic here on episode 80, and the USFL is back. The Philadelphia Stars have returned. A few other teams as well. They're going to be kicking off. Actually, when this episode drops, it'll be after the end of week 1. So
we'd like to welcome the Philadelphia Stars mascot, whose name is Blob.
Makes sense.
Fans were asked to vote
for
his final name, and Philadelphia fans chose Blob. So, good for him.
That doesn't make any sense when it's the Philadelphia Stars, but that's
Gritty,
okay.
Blob, Gritty, the weird thing, you got the dog over there.
Swoop. You got Swoop. You got all kinds of... Yeah.
I always preferred inflatable Swoop to regular
Yes.
Swoop.
Inflatable Swoop is so much cooler than... Right?
Yeah.
Real Swoop's an asshole. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
Swoops and shit in places that he shouldn't be swooping.
Hey, when he was there at the Stadium Series, when Steve and I were there at the Stadium Series, he scared this like 6-year-old Penguins fan. It was great. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. He was scared to death. Remember that? We were in the Fan Fest. He scared half to death. This kid.
Oh, that's right, in the Fan Fest. Yes.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
But nothing. Nobody's cooler than Gritty.
No one's cool.
He went streaking at that event. So
and the Fanatic is creepy. So I got the mascot stuff now.
Gritty actually started that rally, really, for the Flyers. You stop to think about it when he's straight. You know what I mean? I mean,
right.
Who knows?
Gritty, keep your clothes on.
But anyway, let's talk a little USFL here, guys. With this, and you know, they're known. They were known back in the '80s of having different rule changes back then. Back in the '80s, I remember this. There was a thing called the challenge flag, where the head coach of the team could toss out a red flag and say, "I don't agree with this call. Take a look at this again." And the referee would go and take a look into it.
No kidding.
And look what happened.
Roger Goodell steals everything.
Hell, yeah. So that was kind of one of those things that the USFL did. It was kind of a neat thing. But here now, with technology, they have now implanted a chip inside the football that will now apparently be able to measure first downs without the chain gang. We won't have to have the referees go out there and measure for the first down if it's
Which
close.
is so fantastic during the NFL. I can't wait for that. That's when I get up and eat pepperoni.
Yeah. First down measurements that are more accurate than ever. That's their official quote, basically, from the league. Guys,
Without
what
a
are your
chain
thoughts
yet.
on this? Yeah, it's kind of cool. You know, it's USFL kind of just doing something a little bit different, I guess. I've always
Well,
thought
it takes the spot away.
It does.
It takes the referee spot away is basically all that it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
How?
They're using the chip in the ball with the line on the TV.
It's almost like a scanner.
Yes,
like-
almost. Yes.
So when it hits
okay,
it's
but
first down.
wait a minute. How do we know that the guy actually made the first down? What if his knee went down and then the ball kept going forward?
That's still to be determined. we don't know these answers.
Although it may look undeniably cool on television to see an image of the football and an image of the line to gain, the reality is that this kind of ball tracking technology isn't precise enough to guarantee that first down calls will be correct. This is from NBC Pro Football Talk, NBCSports.com. The NFL already has a chip in every football, but it uses those chips only for its next-gen stats tracking data. Sponsored by AWS, whatever.
Yeah.
That's because the chips are in the middle of every ball, and they're just not accurate enough to locate where a football is to the inch. The data works fine as a good approximation of where the ball is, give or take the length of one football, but it doesn't tell you whether a third down play just barely picked up the first down or whether the offense should be facing fourth and short.
So the USFL is essentially rolling this out before it's ready.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally does.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
But I think, again, as I mentioned at the top here with the USFL, they were the first to throw out the challenge flags and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of revolutionized a little bit of the NFL.
Yes,
What's gonna
but
happen
there's
with this, but yeah,
there's not a whole lot of technical things that need to happen for a coach to just throw a flag.
Yeah, no, you're
I
absolutely
disagree
right.
with you. Throwing this flag at you.
If you are now basing your first down decisions on this thing when it's not accurate enough to actually measure it,
But they're saying it's going to be more accurate than
ever.
Because you're taking a ball length and you're taking it out of the referee's eye, basically, because that's normally how it gets spotted. They wait for the whistle to blow. They look at the ball, they take the ball, they put the ball where they think the ball is supposed to go. They're saying that this is going to be more accurate. I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical, but that's what they're saying.
well, wait. All right, so, all right, first down. I run 5 yards, right?
Yes.
We're no longer counting on the referee to spot the ball. Then who spots the ball?
Well, the referee has to
The referee still spots the ball.
I guess
this is an issue where if it gets to be a 3rd and 2, and let's just say they run the play up the middle, right?
Mhm.
And it's short of the line to gain. Does the nose of the ball essentially will this technology pick up the nose of football at the chain?
Apparently what you said
go,
is no.
whoop. And this apparently is saying no.
We're skeptical.
The USFL is saying it could possibly. So we'll see. Who knows?
And again, if my knee goes down and then the ball crosses and you hear boop.
Right. Then that's probably a replay challenge.
This is not ready.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Thank God they're not doing it with the NFL. Thank God it's the USFL, so we can watch it. Because this would be infuriating if it was the NFL.
Oh, no question about it. Yeah.
Then maybe that's really maybe Roger Goodell's like paying a little bit of money. Hey, you run this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to deal with this. Yeah, exactly.
If they're really going to do this is going to be a shit show to start.
Oh, yeah.
Like, seriously.
I imagine there's going to be a lot of bugs, and you got to work this thing out and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But you know what? It just got 3 of us to watch it when we weren't going to watch it.
Hey, they're back, baby. They're back. After all these years, are you kidding me? They are back, and I love it.
Let me ask this. Does the chip solve the problem of not a clear fumble recovery?
Probably not.
Probably not.
When there's not a cowboy around the ball and it's surrounded by eagles, yet we can't determine who has possession?
Who has possession?
Well, don't worry. They're going to have fingerprint now on the ball. Like, each player is going to have to get all their fingerprints are going to have to be taken. So if you touch the ball, it's going to immediately, the ball's going to be like, he has me. That's what we're going.
If the ball gets any technologically more improved, it's going to turn into a transformer. It's going to grow legs in the middle of the game and freaking run and kick somebody in the shin.
There you go.
On its way out of the stadium.
There you go. You got to do
that. We could just go back to the XFL rules where you just put the ball in the middle of the thing and everybody runs at each other. I mean, because that's what we're getting to already.
I was just going to say, where's Vince McMahon with a steel chair? That's my only question.
He flopped. COVID killed him.
He did flop.
He tried to bring the
twice.
Back
Twice he flopped. You know, The Rock had to buy the league, for God's sakes. In any
doing what you do, Vince.
Exactly. In any event, we also have another sports tech thing. This was very interesting. I think it popped up on a YouTube thing.
This one's
to
cool.
Both of you. PitchCom.
This one's
installed
cool.
in the MLB. Of course, the idea is now that the catcher wears like something on their wrist, and they're with a couple of buttons, they're able to send a signal out to the pitcher through a little mini speaker inside of the pitcher's ball cap. Fastball, low and away, that kind of a deal. Curveball, up and in, or something like that, or knuckleball, wherever the hell you want to throw it. That kind of deal. Kind of picking up where they want to place it instead of having to do the traditional signs. We have a pitcher who pitched before, and Steve, what are your thoughts on this with PitchCom?
Well, the one thing they don't tell you is that if you get into like a scrum on the field, it doubles as like one of those Predator armbands. So you could set it to self-destruct while you're there, and it'll just take care of everything.
Shooting things at him. Like darts for when Bryce Harper runs to go beat someone up.
There you go.
The catcher can hit him with a sleeping dart, so
there you go.
he gets hurt.
There you go.
I like the idea to, you're going to avoid sign stealing, which is the idea. And what was really cool was I think it was the second base and the shortstop get the earpieces too, so they can know the signs because they need to know.
Yeah.
And it can be, and you can set it to whatever language you need. So if you've got if your shortstop is from like Panama or something, you can do it in Spanish. Which is neat. Yeah, it's neat to me. I don't, if I'm a runner on second base, I'm probably standing as close to the shortstop as I can to
listen.
To listen, because there's going to be some audible, noise to hear.
Probably a little bit of the downside, yeah, for sure, yeah.
And I don't know what prevents a batter from kind of side-eyeing, down the catcher, punching in the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is cool. It is cool. It's totally cool. It's
different and outside the box thinking. Yeah.
It's technology. It's the first thing in technology that we've run across in a while that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it'll work really well. Only 23 teams are using it, which seems a little weird.
The Phillies have used it.
Yeah, the Phillies are using it. It was funny. One of the guys.
They got to work on that though.
Yeah.
3 and 4 to start. God's sakes.
Whatever team they were playing the other day, I don't remember if it was the Mets or not. The one of the transmitters went, and I thought it was funny. One of the transmitter goes, and they immediately go back to the signs like it was yesterday.
No kidding.
So obviously they're still practicing all that stuff. They immediately went back to the signs.
They went right back to the signs. Yeah.
Technology, you can't. It's like the safety features in your car. You know, the little light that turns on when somebody's in your blind spot.
Yeah.
You still need to look.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Right. You can't just rely, because if that goes out, God forbid, and you're like, oh, nobody's there. Bang.
I'll pull over.
You know.
What's
You got to be prepared. I'd like to see the Astros now counter to this as their trash can banging. What's going to be the technological leap for that?
Oh, dude, they're using Bluetooth. They're stealing things at a level that you don't even know. Like, they're that good at it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, we're just moving right along here. Topic 4, and we got Alec Bohm in the news. The young third baseman apparently had a rough go of it early on in the season. First game of the Mets series, he committed 3 errors, and error number 2, he said, "I effing hate this place." Cameras picked up on it. Philly fans went nuts. Oh my God, he hates us. Oh my God, this is terrible. And then, of course, when he was interviewed after the game, he said, "I didn't mean it. Are you kidding me? Come on, I love this place." Guys, let's just talk here a little bit about Alec Bohm. John, what are your thoughts on him with the whole thing?
I agree with him. I hate this fucking place. Like, when you're having a bad game, yes, you do hate this fucking place. I don't think the fans were at all. John Kruk said it best. He was like, it's the idiots in the media that went after this. I don't think it was and it showed the next night when he came to the plate, standing ovation. They know.
Yeah.
They hate this place too. Like, we get it. Like, we're not stupid fans. We get it. Like, 2 errors sucks.
Yeah.
You don't want to be booed.
No doubt.
But it was 3.
Yes.
It was 3 errors.
He got booed after the second one, I think.
They won, and they won the game. But
we only give you one shot to screw up. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I thought he handled it perfectly well.
Yeah.
He gave the perfect speech. I'll just say what he said after the game. I said it. Do I mean it? No. It's a frustrating night for me, obviously. Made a few mistakes in the field. Look, these people, these fans, they just want to win. You heard it. We come back. They're great. I'm just sorry to them. I don't mean that. End quote. I don't think you could have asked for anything better out of that kid. Really.
No.
Steve, what do you think?
No, I perfectly agree with you.
Yeah.
He had a rough game, and I don't think the fans were in the wrong for being frustrated. They will let you know. And I think, as we discussed in pre-production, the booing is not necessarily all directed at him for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When a guy commits 3 errors, I think you're also booing the manager's decision to play him over somebody else who may not have made 3 errors. Mm-hmm. Your decision is at the GM for being in a position where you've got to play a guy who's going to commit 3 errors at third base. If the guy's swinging his bat well, you could DH him. You could put him at first.
Yep.
You're putting him at third base. That's a long throw.
Oh, yeah. When you have 2 serviceable young defensive style, which he is not a defensive third baseman at all. You have 2 of them on your roster that could play that position. That's probably where some of the boos were coming from, because throughout this season so far, we've seen 3 people play third base, and only one of them were making errors.
Yeah.
But this is the lesson to people like Ben Simmons. Alec Bohm took accountability.
Yeah.
He said, look, and not a big deal. If he had handled it differently, it probably would have been a big deal.
Yeah.
The camera caught him saying what he said.
Yep.
But he said, you know what? I don't mean it.
Nope.
I know I made some mistakes. They were getting on me. But that's the nature of the game. I understand it.
Yeah.
Took accountability for the problems.
Yeah.
And that's why he got a standing ovation the next night, because that's all we want.
Yeah.
Yes. We don't want for who for what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
No question.
We want accountability. That's all we want.
That's all
we
we
want
want.
effort. We want effort and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're looking for.
Very straightforward. Yeah.
Absolutely. Shut up.
I give him a lot of credit for the. I mean, let's face it. This kid. I don't know how old he is. I want to say he's like probably 23, 24. For him,
No, he's like 26, I think. Or
26. Okay, so he's in his mid-20s. For him to do that, to get up there in that moment where you're, let's face it. When you make 3 errors in a game, the last thing you want to do is talk to any sort of media or any sort of fan.
Yeah. Nobody.
And just say like, thanks. I know I screwed up. I know it. And for him to say, I haven't hate this place. I'm right there with him. I've done the same thing in the field playing softball, for crying out loud. I've chucked my glove thinking like, I should be a lot better than this. And it's like, hey, come on, knock it off, move on. You don't linger in the past, right?
We all have it
move
in
on
us.
from it. You go from there. Go ahead, John. What are you going to say?
No, we all have it in us. Like,
Yeah.
You're playing on a team and you're losing and you're frustrated. Like, you're not thinking the greatest of things about the people that you're playing with or the people you're playing for. Like, he owned it well, and I don't think it's a fan issue. I think that whole thing was the media running to his locker because they wanted that soundbite. And you know what? He gave a great soundbite. He gave the truth.
Yeah.
And they couldn't run anything off of him.
Exactly.
And that's
that's the thing.
That's huge.
It was, the whole thing was what they caught him saying, but it didn't fit the national media's narrative, so they didn't catch the part after or the standing ovation the next night.
Exactly.
Not going to see that.
And you know what? But you know what they did in the New York media? The New York media only played, I effing hate this place.
Yeah.
They didn't play what we just read.
Of course
It's
they
only
don't.
when you go in and you play the Philadelphia media, you get the whole truth and nothing but it.
Well, we should go up to the New York media and throw batteries at them.
There you go.
No problem with that. We could get rid of the New York Times. We'll keep the New York Post though.
I thought it was the Post that ran it.
Probably the Post.
I think it was the Post.
The Post runs everything though, so you don't even know. Like, they don't even know what they're running at this point. They're storytellers. I literally follow them on Instagram and I get 900 stories a day. Like, how can you be that accountable? You're not. Like, it's too much.
It's too much. All right, guys. Well, we've reached the happy of episode 80. So, John, why don't you go ahead and just pull this up, because this is a great, great story of an older gentleman who actually did lose everything. But
I really had a good life. Born in the Depression, grew up in the war, and in '86, I retired and moved down here the same day. It's a great place to live, I'll tell you. I did pretty good till Sandy came in 2012. I had flood insurance, and it was all rebuilt. And then this year, the fire. I seen smoke coming in the bathroom door. I took one breath, and I knew right away I would never take a second breath and live. So I dropped to the floor, and then I had to get out of the house. Everything I owned was burned. Everything. Oh, God.
We're blessed. This whole block, for some reason, everybody's been great neighbors. But Paul has always been like a staple. He's the whole neighborhood. He's like the mayor. Everybody knows him. He takes my kids out on bike rides. He walks a mile every day. I remember the night of the fire. I hear on the window, bang, 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 help. And I look up, and it's Paul. He had no shirt on and shaving cream all over his face.
Terrible.
I had an old pair of work jeans. They don't fit him too good, but at least he had pants and a shirt to wear. It's what he would have done for me if I was in his situation.
People have been dropping off gift cards like every day. It's like the world was waiting for something like this. They want to help. A young lady started a GoFundMe for him. $127,925.
How many people do I got to thank for all that? How do you thank people?
Maybe we'll build a house.
The community has rallied around him. He's got a road ahead of him. He's got to rebuild his home, and we all know how challenging construction is right now. So we are hosting a dinner on Monday evening, April 11th, at the Black Whale Bar and Fish House. So the more you eat, the more we can donate.
There's a lot of good people in this world, I found out. I don't know what I've done without. I appreciate everything. God bless you all.
Seeing you feeling it, right, Johnny?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just amazing. For that community to rally around him too.
Mhm.
That's just, I mean, you can't ask for any better than that, especially for a young old man for him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work.
Crazy. Yeah, great work. No doubt about that. All right, guys. Well, that's it. We've hit the end of episode 80 of Two
We did
Noobs
it.
Talking. Woo! Can't believe it. It's always great to talk with both of you about the issues of the day and to take over the National Hockey League's Player Safety Committee. That's great. I can't wait. It's jumping right in. That's for sure. With Johnny.
Apparently, we're getting rid of the New York Times, apparently.
Get rid of the New York Times.
I'm in. We're
Check
teammates
offender,
for life.
but other
I'm
than that,
in.
we're good.
I'm sorry. What episode was this again? Who are you?
You didn't take your brain pills?
80.
No, I did. That's the problem.
We've got to get this done real quick then, John. What do you think? Let's hit them up with our shameless plugs, bud. Where can people find us?
All right, we are on Facebook a lot since Steve took over. We are on TikTok. Clapper loves us. Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels. You can pretty much any place a video plays in social media, we're hanging out there. So you just check us out everywhere.
Nice.
And it leads
Even on Pornhub?
Not there, but yeah, of course, we're directed to our main YouTube.
Depends on who owns it.
Yeah, exactly. Our main YouTube channel is the Two Noobs Talking Podcast. We would really love it, of course, if you like, share, and subscribe, and get notified when our new episodes drop. And you can check out all of our 80 episodes on the channel as well. We drop all of our episodes Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. What? What are you laughing over there?
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
On
the audio
it's late.
side-
I'm having a Beavis and Butthead moment. Sorry.
Oh, nice. On the audio side, go ahead, Steve. If you can compose yourself.
On the audio side, we're with Podbrain. Puts us out onto all the platforms like Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and crap like that.
Awesome. Yeah, and our show notes too are twonoobstalking.wordpress.com. You can check out all of the links to all the articles that we reference in today's episode from there. So again, my thanks to Steve, my thanks to John for joining me here on Two Noobs Talking. It's on episode 81, guys. What do you say? Got to keep going, right?
Thank
Getting
God this
close.
one's over.
On upward.
Onward, upward. Talk to you all guys next week. Take care.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. That's a great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be truly informed.